Hello. I wanted to share a quick story with you for my market minute this month. I mean, it just encapsulates everything that is happening right now in the real estate market. So, in case you haven't heard, we've had a shift this year. We are in some pockets in the Treasure Valley in more of a buyer's market where there's more homes on the market than there are buyers. So, buyers have a lot more choices to look at. They've got more time, and they're also able to ask for seller credits. Now, what a seller credit is help with the closing costs, or the money can be used to buy down the rate. And this amount of money cannot be wrapped into a loan. It has to be cash at closing. And so that's why sometimes, especially first-time home buyers, they need a little bit of help with their closing costs. So they'll ask the seller to pay for it. Now, that was non-existent during COVID. We are out of the COVID timeframe. We have come back down to planet Earth. And so what we're seeing now, especially with more homes on the market, homes staying on the market longer than they were in the past, it's allowing buyers to have a little more purchase power. So, what my first-time home buyers, I've got this great couple I'm working with, and they found a home that they loved, and it had been on the market for 148 days. So that it was March 4th that the home was listed. And when I see that, I'm like, wow, this home has been on the market a lot longer than our average days on market. If you're about to list your house, do not panic. 148 days is beyond what we're seeing. Like, let's say around 45 days, sometimes even just 14 days. We still have pockets in the valley where we are in a strong seller's market. So anyways, 148 days on the market for this house. So I said to my clients, I'm like, I wouldn't think it's unreasonable at all to ask for closing costs in this one. So I call the listing agent. I ask him, I'm like, what's most important to your client? He said, well, it's price. And I said, okay. And so we really want to come in with a strong offer. So we offer full price. We ask for seller concessions. And immediately the seller was like, no. And I have to say, I was so shocked by this. Like, I didn't assume that we would get it all, but I thought it would at least start the conversation. We went in the exact opposite direction. So instead of the seller like willing to work with us, the seller was like, instead, you can pay even more than the list price, and I'm not going to offer seller concessions. It was crazy. Like, I'll be honest, I've never seen this situation before. And so in talking to the listing agent, he says to me, well, you're actually, we're giving you a $40,000 discount on the house. And I had to chuckle. And his explanation of that was, starting in March, they were listed $40,000 higher than they are today. So he's looking at it like he's giving us $40,000. And I politely explained to him, no, you're not giving them $40,000 because the house wasn't worth that to start with, or you would have sold it. The house is worth what buyers are willing to pay for it. That's what sets market value. So unfortunately, the house was overpriced from the start, and now they're chasing the market. And what happens when you do that, when you overprice your home, especially if you ever have the thought, I can always reduce the price, don't do that. Because when you start too high, you chase the market the entire time, and you actually most likely will never get the actual list price you're at, even if you do lower it, because your days on market go up. And then when a buyer and a realtor come in and see that, they're like, oh, we can offer less. They've been on the market a long time. They'll probably take anything just to get under contract, which isn't always the case, as we found out. This house had received two other offers, and she rejected all of them because she was looking at it like she was handing the sellers $40,000 in equity. You can't hand something to someone that you don't actually have. Her house wasn't worth that. Unfortunately, if you bought at the height of the market, you feel you should get that, but that's not what the market is reflecting with comparable sales. So, and I couldn't advise my clients to pay over the list price. And so it was just this strange interaction, strange transaction. Didn't even get to the point of being called a transaction, but either way. So she rejected the offer and was like, absolutely not. I have to get this price. But when you have 148 days on market, you're most likely not going to get that price. So my buyers were like, okay, we have other options because inventory is up, and we're going to go look at other houses and put an offer in on another house and work with a different seller who understands our current market conditions right now of it's not offensive. It's not unheard of to get seller credit or to ask for seller credits. An educated seller understands that that is something that's happening right now because of the way mortgage rates have been up and down. And right now we're in this downward trend. And so we're seeing that, but it's really crunched the buyer's purchase power. And so sellers that have been educated by the realtor understand it's not unheard of. And so if you are thinking of listing your home in our current market conditions, don't be offended if someone asks for help. It's not a strange thing that happens. It's not offensive. And honestly, if you can still net what you need to net to get you to the next stage in your life, don't be offended. Don't turn down your first offer. They always say might be your best offer and sometimes your only offer. So if you can actually get to the next stage that you need to get to with that seller credit that you're offering, then my advice is to take it. Don't let your pride get in the way. That's my advice for sellers. Buyers right now, you do have lots of options. Of course, you always want to be pre-approved before you hit the streets, but know that, some of those homes that have been on the market for longer average days on market, you do have the opportunity to ask for a seller credit. Now, you can ask for it all the time, but just know if a home is priced right on day one, that seller is still in the mind frame that they're going to hopefully get that list price if they've got it priced according to the market conditions. So just there's so much that goes into it right now. But definitely you can't make assumptions, and you definitely can't think I'm losing money that you never actually had. That seller already had in her mind that she was going to get that price at 40,000 higher. So she felt like she was losing, but you can't lose something you never had. And especially if your home is priced above market value. It's not working that way in our current market condition. So if you ever have any questions about this, let me know. I am in it every single day. I'm looking at these numbers and looking at the trends and all of that. So I'm happy to talk it over with you.